Hey guys, it's Rush. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about fighting games. Would you believe it? Yes, I want to talk about fighting games from the perspective of the negativity I'm seeing in the community. So this is the Street Fighter community. This is the Tekken community. This is my own journey. And this is people actively playing these games, but who seem negative or unhappy about the experience. So it's some thoughts that I have, particularly from my perspective with Street Fighter 6 and how I feel right now and how I am rethinking those things, just reprocessing those emotions and how to proceed in a more healthy manner. This is going to be very corny, but let me share some ideas with you. Cost of living, man. Had to turn the bulb off. Anyway, swiftly moving on. So I've written some things down. So let me just explain what I've written down, the concepts. So finding a game you love, finding a character you love, being tied to a game, and how to provide criticism. And in brackets, I've got bashing other games. So my journey, I think a lot of you guys know on the channel now. So Street Fighter 5, I'm playing Street Fighter 6. I said I wouldn't play Street Fighter 6. I did play Street Fighter 6 and I've not enjoyed the experience at all. Now, the reason why I've not enjoyed Street Fighter 6 is because I'm still trying to play the game like it's Street Fighter 5. So that is on me. And one thing I will say is I've never said Street Fighter 6 is a bad game. I've always said that I don't like the way Street Fighter 6 plays. I also don't like the way Street Fighter 6 feels. But on top of that, let me go back to my phone. I also don't feel like I have a character. Like I play Ken because obviously I play Ken in Street Fighter 5. So naturally you would think, you know, if you've played that character in the old game and he's in the new game, you're going to gravitate to that character. Good example of this actually is Ed. So Ed in Street Fighter 5 plays nothing like Ed in Street Fighter 6. And whilst some Ed mains have made the transition from 5 to 6, a lot of people I know that played Ed don't really use him in 6 or find him completely different. And it's very similar with Ken in Street Fighter 6. He doesn't feel like the same character as he did in Street Fighter 5 for me. The way I played Ken, the tool set, even the game itself, the way the game is played, the way you play Ken in Street Fighter 6 is completely different. So the entire landscape when it comes to Street Fighter 6 compared to Street Fighter 5, it's a completely different game, but that is the nature of Street Fighter. Street Fighter changes every iteration of the game. And that's the mistake I made. I made the mistake of playing Street Fighter 6, even though I said I wouldn't. Because I knew from the very beginning, the first beta, I knew I didn't like Street Fighter 6. But I foolishly continued playing, knowing I don't like the game, knowing I don't have a character that I enjoy. But not only that, I was playing because of my following, because I have viewership on YouTube, viewership on Twitch. I felt the need, I put pressure on myself to play this game even though I didn't like it, and that's where mistakes lie. So I'm using Street Fighter 6 and my experience with 6 coming from 5 as an example. It could be the fact that I'm seeing the more negative posts more than the positive posts, but when I look on Twitter, when I go into people's streams on Twitch, I find a lot of people talking very, very negatively about Street Fighter 6, about Tekken 8. Now I understand that Capcom and Namco are trying to tailor the games to a wider audience. There is a big skill range within the game, but they've enabled players that are new to the series or players that don't have as much knowledge or skill to be able to play those games. And I actually don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing because end of the day, franchises want people to play those games and they want them to enjoy those games, whether you're low level, mid level, or high level. And that's causing a lot of controversy within the community. It was the same with Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5 dropped. It did have an awful launch, I know, but the game itself, people didn't like Street Fighter 5 coming from Street Fighter 4. And I played Street Fighter 5 from the day it dropped in February of 2016 up until the end of the game. Even beyond, you guys know I've been playing it here and there for content and things, even more recently. But everyone bashed that game like through the entirety, and some of it was just at the very beginning, a lot of it was justified, but then people continued to bash that game. They weren't actively playing the game, but they were bashing the game, and a lot of people were saying things about Street Fighter 5 when I was thinking, okay, those things were relevant like 3-4 years ago, but they're not relevant now. So clearly you don't know what you're talking about, or you're just regurgitating stuff that other people are saying. And this is my point. So I use Street Fighter 5 as the example. I'm seeing that a lot on Twitter and on Twitch. So a lot of people are being negative about games, but I don't really hear what specifically is the problem. And the other thing I don't understand, and I'm guilty of this with Street Fighter 6, is is if you really don't like a game, fighting game, whatever game it is itself, the big question you have to ask yourself, I have to ask myself, I have asked myself this, is why are you playing this game if you don't like it? Now, for me, I mentioned when you have a following, there is this pressure when you have people who know you for something. People know me for Street Fighter. People know me for Ken. There is this pressure. And it's not pressure that the audience is putting on you. It's an expectation, but it's a pressure you put on yourself where you feel like you should play said game. You should play said character. And I know I'm not crazy. I feel that, but I hear other people on Twitch say that. So streamers, I'm not going to name names. I actually hear them say things like, if I don't play this game, if I don't play Street Fighter, and I don't play this character, either or, maybe both things, my numbers won't be very good. People want to watch me play this game, and people have dedicated segments to this game that they don't particularly enjoy that much because they know they'll get the viewership. This is streaming, obviously, for that game. They have, like, say they do like 2 hours, 3 hours of that game, Street Fighter 6, for example. And then after the 3 hours, hard stop, they stop playing. And then they switch to something else entirely different, something that's probably more fun, more interactive with the chat, more enjoyable, just more relaxed. Something that they feel more happy and maybe more passionate about. And it's like, I totally get it. As a content creator, I understand it. You have to pull the numbers in, especially if you're relying on the revenue as well. You do need to do that. But it's a shame that we put the pressure on ourselves as content creators and streamers to play these games that we don't particularly enjoy that much to get the numbers. And these people are actively saying, like, it could be salty feelings in the moment, but they do say this game is so frustrating, this game is annoying. Some people go as far as saying the game is trash. I don't fully believe they think the game's trash because these people that I'm watching are very good at the game, or at least have, you know, a decent level within the game. But yeah, it's a really difficult situation to be in because you are forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to do, and that's something that's come to light to me. I've had to really think about how I'm approaching Street Fighter 6 and my content and understand how can I continue making content that works for me where I don't have to play the game as much. Do I consider playing a different game entirely? How do I invest my time where it's both worthwhile for me, but it's tolerable at the very least, but it should be enjoyable? And that's the scary thing about this. It's quite a toxic relationship, and I think we need to be real with ourselves. I understand, like I said, if you're earning money from it, that makes it even more challenging because obviously you don't want to lose your revenue stream. But at the same time, I do think we need to look inwards and sort of think, is this fun? Is this a good pursuit and a good use of your time? So you guys are probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about. What is the point of this rambling rush? Well, let's use myself as the example with Street Fighter 6. I do feel for the most part I've not said that Street Fighter 6 is a bad game. I don't like what the game is. I don't like the way it encourages people to play the game, but I've never said it's a bad product. It actually is one of the best products that's come out in terms of fighting games. You've got one of the best launches ever, a very polished game, amazing online, a huge community, and Capcom are updating the game very regularly. But that's it. My point is I'm not enjoying it. So, number one, if I don't enjoy it, don't play it. But the other thing is, don't spout negativity about a game that I'm not interested in. There's no point in me going on Twitter saying this game sucks, it's the worst game ever. There's no point. There's nothing good to come from that. You know, we voice your opinion in a constructive way. You know, to say that I don't like the way this game plays because of X, Y, and Z is a much more constructive way of articulating things than saying this game is bad. And if you put stuff out there on the internet with those types of views, you may get other perspectives from other players who can, I'm not saying to change the way you feel, but give you a different perspective. And you can listen to those opinions and be like, I hear what you're saying, but I still know the game's not for me. That's fine. You're entitled to, everyone's entitled to their opinions. But to completely shut down what other people have to say and to continue playing this game and crying and moaning about it for year after year until Street Fighter 7 comes out, and then lo and behold, you hate Street Fighter 7 more than you hated Street Fighter 6. It's just a never-ending cycle of just pain and agony. And this is what I've seen it again from Street Fighter 5 into Street Fighter 6, but I see the same people complaining, but yet they're still playing. It's just, it gets you nowhere. It's a complete waste of time. For me personally, I've made the decision that if I continue my time in fighting games, it will be less than it ever was before. I'll never put the time in that I put into Street Fighter 5. I know that as a fact. But if I were to play something, it has to be something that I enjoy. And for me, when I play Tekken 8, I can see a lot of the struggles and frustrations with Tekken 8 straight off the bat. But when I play Tekken 8, it feels more fun. It feels more. The way I explain it is Street Fighter 6 feels very slow and sluggish to me. And the inputs, the way the game is designed, the inputs for me are very finicky. It's very finicky. I've got to go from this to that, but then I want to anti-ADP, but then I've got to try and parry in. Everything for me, it just doesn't feel very. I don't feel comfortable playing that game, and when I play it, it's just a complete mess. Whereas with Tekken, it doesn't remind me of Street Fighter 5, but the experience I had in Street Fighter 5 where I can move very fast, I get my inputs straight away, I don't have mechanics that are eating my inputs, which to me is still crazy in Street Fighter 6. I have none of that in Tekken 8. In Tekken 8, I'm getting my inputs, I'm getting my movement, and when something goes wrong, or I make a mistake, I can clearly see what's gone wrong. Street Fighter 6, often when I play that game, when something goes wrong, I go in the this is a bit of a tangent now. I go into the replay and I see what the opponent's doing, and then I find the counterplay, and I'm like, I'm talking to the screen. I'm like, game, that's what you're allowing them to do, and this is what you want me to do to counter it. It just feels like madness. It feels like madness against madness, but it's not for me. But that's my approach. My approach is, let me stop playing Street Fighter 6 as much as I am at that level. Let me invest the time in something else, but let me be happy for the people that like that game, and let me celebrate the people that are having success, because at the highest level in Street Fighter 6, I can't believe how good people are. I watch gameplay of Street Fighter 6 at the highest level, higher levels or the highest levels, and I'm just amazed by how people are so consistent, how much control they have within that game, the struggles that I have. So it's a flip of the coin. I can sit there in my feelings and be crying and moaning and posting on Twitter every day, and people just reading the post and just going past it because they're not interested. Or I can have a completely different perspective. I can still enjoy Street Fighter 6, but more as a spectator. I can appreciate it for what it is, but I can invest that time elsewhere. And I can have intellectual conversations with people about Street Fighter 6 if they come about, but I just know that I don't have the skill required to be good at that game, or the motivation to play it, because it makes me very unhappy. It's not a very fun game for me. So I don't know. I knew this video would be a ramble. I knew it'd be just a lot of information just thrown at you guys, but I feel like it's an important thing because I see so many people unhappy with their games. It's not good to see legacy Tekken players unhappy with Tekken. It's not good to see Street Fighter players just moaning, but to be honest, all Street Fighter players do is moan, so there's nothing new there. But it's not good to see collectively as a community, everyone just unhappy, but yet pursuing this genre. There's something special about fighting games. I've played fighting games most of my life at a very, very casual level up until Street Fighter 5, but I love fighting games, and it's been my favourite genre growing up, in all honesty. So I've got a lot of passion for fighting games, and getting to know people within the scene and seeing people succeed, and just getting involved in the FGC, to see now with these modern games, because Tekken is an amazing game. For me, with Tekken, I look at Tekken and I'm just like, wow, the game just looks stunning. And to me, it feels like a great game. Some of the mechanics, yeah, they are annoying. I understand. Heat's a bit mad. And I look at Street Fighter 6, I'm like, wow, it's an amazing product. It's an amazing game. And there's so many people playing it. So it's a shame that we have these new iterations of games, fighting games, but yet people are still unhappy. Everyone's going to have something negative to say. It's never going to be perfectly balanced, and there's always going to be criticism, but I just would like to see us more happy with the games that we play. So Season 2 of Tekken drops in April. I think Season 3 of Street Fighter 6 is coming very, very soon as well. Capcom Cup is around the corner, and then we should get some reveals, some information about Season 3. So there's a lot to look forward to with the big two. Obviously, Sea of the Wolves is dropping around April time as well. So spring of this year is looking like an awesome year for fighting games. And then later on the year, was it this year? Next year? I actually don't know when the release date is, but we have Virtual Fighter as well. So there's so many options. Just don't sit there playing a game you're unhappy with. Like, it's just not worth it. I know if I boot up Street Fighter 6 now and play it, I will be pulling the little hair that I have left out. So I just know it's not good for me. Here's a funny way to wrap up the video. So I got back into Street Fighter 6 content. Number one, because I love it. I do love making content. I do love Street Fighter. But I'm trying to save some money up. I'm trying to save a trip to Turkey to get a hair transplant. And what I realized is the more I played Street Fighter 6 to make content to help towards my hair transplant fund, I realized the more I played Street Fighter 6, the more hair I was losing. So it was kind of like it was a vicious cycle. It's like, yeah, my kit is building up, my savings and my YouTube money and blah, blah, blah is building up. But I'm having to have more procedure because the hairline's going back even further. So I don't know. It's just, there you go. Any reason to not play a fighting game that you don't enjoy, there's your reason. You're just going to throw money down the toilet. You have a receding hairline, waste your time when you could be doing so much better stuff. The sun's shining. It's lovely out there. It's not the be all and end all to play a fighting game you hate. That is it. That's my ramble. Hope you enjoyed the video. What's your thoughts? Am I talking nonsense? Should I continue playing? No, I'm not playing Street Fighter 6. I'm not doing it. See me on Street Fighter 5. Right, guys. I'll catch you later.